Good morning, students. My name is Harish. I teach at Tribal Degree College, Men Sangareddy, and today we are going to learn a lesson titled "What is the language of the future?" and it is written by Henry Hitchings. And before we start the session, before we talk about the text, let us first learn and know about the author. And Henry Hitchings, born in the year 1974 from England, and he authored books, so many books. First of all, his book entitled The Doctor's Johnson's Dictionary, the extraordinary story of the book that defined the world, in the year 2005. And next, The Secret Life of Words, How English Became English. These two texts came in 2008. And other works include Who is Afraid of Jane Austen? And it is subtitled as How to Really Talk About Books That You Haven't Read. It came in 2008. And he wrote another book in the year 2013 that is English and Their Manners. And today's text, that is What is the Language and Future, it is taken from the text The Language of Words. It is taken from his book The Language Words, a History of Proper English, 2011. And apart from this, he has edited books, some books that essays that entitled as Browse the World in the Bookshops. Okay, so and he has contributed many newspapers, magazines, and is a theater, and he is the theater critic for the London Evening Standard. Apart from that, he has edited, and he's a theater critic for the London Evening Standard, and he became a fellow of the Royal Society of Literature in the year 2015. So this is his little background, and let us go for what this essay is about. Okay, this essay is about, as I mentioned earlier, that is an excerpt. It has taken from the book The Language of Words, A History of Proper English, 2011. So in this book, Hitchings gives you a lucid account of debates that shaped English language and offers an insight into the state of language today and likely future. So, what is the status of language today, and what is the state of language likely in the future? So that is his main argument in the text, and it outlines the factors that helped English language, how it spread in the past, and reasons for it, and what is the reasons for the English fever in today's world, right? If you don't know English, that means you are a marginalized kind of thing. You are not in the mainstream. So that is the English fever. And what are the challenges that English language is going to face, and what is the what are the challenges that language is going to face in the future. So these things are discussed in this text. Okay, I think you are following me. Yeah, before we jump into the text, let me ask you how many languages you know. How many languages are active in this world? How many languages are passive? You see, only passive means that are not used in everyday language. For example, if you look at the Latin or Greek, you don't see people are using them in everyday for communication. In the context of Indian languages, Sanskrit is not used in everyday conversations. It's a library language. It's language of intellect. So it's almost, these languages are, for a period of time, they become dead languages. So what is the reason behind this? Though they enjoyed some superiority over other languages. Yeah. So the reason behind all these things, if you don't use language, that become dead. How how much its history is, it doesn't matter. But what matters, how often, how we use a language for our needs, for our uh, for our everyday communication. And so that depends on how we use the language. So that is the reason. So many languages are disappearing. So what is the reason behind this? There's a survey that says in 2050 there are only 50 languages going to survive in this world. The remaining are going to dead. They are only passive languages. They are not active. I'm very thankful that we are proud. My mother tongue is Telugu, and it is not in that list. So one has to preserve their language. One has to use their language in everyday, because if we don't use language, is not a language is not only a language. It has associated with our emotions, our culture, our identity. All are there in our mother tongue. So of course I'm getting bread and butter from English. Suppose I shouldn't say all these things, but still we have to protect our mother tongue. That is our identity. Yeah, our future learners miss, children will miss beautiful languages. Okay, so there is a fever of English fever in this world. But we have to have our own mother tongue that should be preserved. Let me start the section, that lesson, and should I start now? Yeah. Another question I'll ask you. So have you heard these terms like pidgin, parole, and butler English kind of things? How they come into an existence? These terms are pidgin language especially. These are all when we interact with other culture. This new or different code language is developed out of two languages. that is called pidgin. And in Butler English, we don't use words. We communicate with other person, and who knows. We communicate with other person, and without any grammatical correctness, incorrect grammar we follow. So that's what I am Butler English. It is developed during Madras presidency. So initially it was for to communicate with the Britishers. Locals used during presidency time. So that's how it developed. It evolved that period. And why I'm talking about this Butler English, pidgins and paroles. So English is not English. That's the whole. It is keep on changing. Initially, it was it first used. It was first spoken by two tribes, Anglos and Saxons, around mid 5th century, 450 AD. So if you look at the origin, it has only 1500 years of history, and after all it was initially spoken by a tribe, two tribes. Now it's a global language, and that's that is the greatness of English language. It has only 1500 years of history, but it's ruling the whole world. So that much of, because English has observed all languages wherever it goes. It if you take a sponge, if you put a sponge into water, it absorbs water. If you put a oil, if you throw a sponge into oil, it absorbs oil. So that's how it evolved. So so that is the journey of English language. That's how so many words from Spanish, so many words from Latin, Greek, and French, and now we see so many words from India too. For example, chutney and parai, and so many words. And so these are examples of English. Englishness. So many Englishes are coming. So if you look at words like Caribbean English, Indian English, and Sri Lankan, and Indonesian, Chinese, and Japanese. So these many Englishes, so many centers are coming. English is no more centered at Britain or America. So this is the little introduction regarding text. Let us jump into the text, and let us see what is the writer's argument in this text. Okay, yeah, let us see. No language has spread as widely as English, and it continues to spread. Internationally desired to learn it is insatiable. In 21st century, the world is becoming more urban and more middle class. Adaptation of English is a symptom of this. Further, increasingly, English serves as a lingua franca of business and popular culture. Yeah. So English is language. No language has spread as widely as English. So you see, it spread all over the world, and and it is used as a lingua franca. That means it's a bridge language, and it is used in trade, commerce, and higher education. It's a library language. It's a language of employment, and without English, you don't get employed. That is the power of English. So that much of importance it has. Uh, it has. So it happened in a single day. The answer is no. And it has a lot of history. So we'll see that also. Okay. So what people think in this world about English language, that is seen in this text. Okay. A recent study suggested among the students that he gives the example that Arab people, they believe that Arabic is the language of their home, their religion, and their customs, and their some wisdom kind of thing. But when what is the connotative, symbolic meaning that is associated with the English language for Arabs is that is associated. The English is a symbol of higher education. It is a symbol of trade, commerce, and it's a symbol of work. It's symbol of modernity, and so these things are Arabs thinks in this way, and of course we also. Okay, and one question is that so and sorry and sorry science and technology. First of all, the author gives you science and technology is taught in English language because most of the textbooks are available in English language. So they have religious texts in Arabic, but most of the scientific texts that are available in English language, English medium only. So it happened in a single day. That's a question. No, it has a long history because of colonization, because of industrialization, because of science and technology, and America's as a political and economic ascendancy. So all these factors contributed to emerge English as a global language. So that is the whole point, and so it doesn't. It didn't come in a single day. It has a lot of historical background. From there, we have seen so many developments in English language. We see first of all, as I told you, it was earlier spoken by two tribes, Anglos and Saxons, and it got influenced with the Normans and other tribes, and finally this what we are today, and so it has evolved over a period of time. And today, what is the status of English language? How many people speak in this world? How many people speak English? Comparatively, native speakers. There are 500 million people speak English language. These 500 million people are second language users, second language learners. This number is more than what native speakers together, that is Britishers and Americans. Okay, and there is of course this and still people want to learn English. Why? Because the author gives you example that Mark Ablé as a scholar. So it gives you an example that you understood that most of the Koreans, I think it's a Korean, rich Korean people trying to get operation, spread of their mouth, their tongue, lengthens their tongue in order to pronounce sounds like R and I. Basically, they do not pronounce these sounds. So, if they widens their tongue, they can produce better pronunciation. And why they are doing so? Because they think, the Koreans think that if the linguistic capital is equals economic capital. That means if you are linguistically potent, if you know language, you are employed somewhere. So that is the basic understanding. So that is the English kind of why people are still it's a example how people want to learn English. It has that much of importance. So presently, that much of importance English has. It's associated with the employment, white collar jobs, and everything. And what are the challenges that are there for English language? Being we calling as a future language. This could be. So why so many? What is the threat that it is going to have? So the threat comes from two languages. The challenge, one is from Spanish, another is from Mandarin. Mandarin. So Mandarin, it's a Chinese language, but the number of speakers who speak Spanish and Mandarin, they are the native speakers comparatively more than English, but they are located in one place. For example, if you speak the speakers of Mandarin are only in China, and Spanish, it's mostly spoken in America, and not in Spain also. Spain has different languages, local languages. So many users are there in this only particular area. But in English has spoken all over the world. That has so many second language learners are there. It is not the case with the modern some Mandarin and Spanish. And what is the challenge is within the language. It is quite the supposing some opposite of what I am saying. So internal, because if you look at English language, it has the spread is forced, some kind of force. For example, the creative artists in India, they don't want English because they don't give that Englishness, whether Englishness or Americanness or some otherness. You don't, if you write something in English which is not your tongue, you are not very comfortable, and your culture is not associated with that language. You don't find idiomatic sentences in English language that is related to our culture. So it is unnecessary to use that language, most of the people, and politicians also. We don't want this language. So there is a Hindianization. So I don't want to talk about much politics here, but one language, one nation, that kind of thing is happening. So want Hindi as like a national language. That's okay. Uh, but what about the global language? We get so many opportunities. So the threat is internal. Basically, thing is the threat is internal, and so that is the thing. And next, the two challenges stand out is from India, another is from Chinese. Because in India we have seen that Britishers ruled us, they colonized us, and they imposed their language on us. And somehow we managed the great thing with the English language. We learned the English language, and with that English language, we threw them back to England. So that is the greatness of Indians. By learning their tongue, we threw them out using their own tongue. And English is not no more somebody's tongue. It's we accumulated. We observed that Englishness, and we are trying to use our Indianized English in everyday. So that is happening still. We've seen so many texts, text like R.K. Narayan's Toasted English. In this text, it talks about how Americans used their own American flavor in their language, and he persuaded us to use Indianized English in our daily in our English, in our in everyday language use. So that was the argument, and he gives you another examples from China. So the entrepreneur Li Yang, he developed a method that says if you shout loudly. So he developed basically a method that is called international muscles. Chinese to activate their it involves a lot of shouting, unorthodox teaching method that is called a method, unorthodox teaching method that involves a lot of shouting, and that helps them to activate their international muscles. So international muscles, what this stands for? So they get international, they can get opportunities. They are in the mainstream of the mainstream. So that is, and there is a slogan that Lee slogan is conquer English to make China strong. If you learn English, you will conquer this world and making this China strong. So that is it's a basically a racist idea, and so that is, but and it also gives us that if you don't learn English, that means you are not in the mainstream. So you are marginalized kind of thing. So that is the fever, English fever. If you don't learn that English, so that you are not in a mainstream. Okay. So by looking at these two examples, most populated countries in this world, India and in China. So people all start learning English language, and these centers are shifting. We don't see that Americans or Americanness or Britishness or Englishness in Indian people. And interestingly, there is a study that says no, if two non-native speakers speak in English, they are very much comfortable in English language. If they speak with the native speakers, they are very, they are not very comfortable. So, we can say that the non-native speakers have their own English, and that English is centers as changing, and study says that another thing that most of the native speakers, they are very competent, very they have communicative linguistic competency and communicative competency in their language, and gives you for that substantiates that answer. But still, though they have linguistic competency, they try to fail having getting contract from other nations, because they feel that they are very competent in their tongue, but they missed so many contract opportunities because they don't know other languages, they don't interact with others, so they missed out. And another thing, these native speakers are not only the ones who are very competent in English language. And author here gives, the writer Henry gives you other details, like there are 80% of the people in in Netherlands and Dutch and Sweden, they speak English language. Just think about 80% of the people. And so there are so many people they can speak English language. So it is those use the language, they own it basically. If you use it, you own it. It is not only in the hands of native speakers, it is spreading to others also. Okay, for example, if I know Telugu language, I'm from Telugu state, and I know it. But if someone learns Telugu language in America and he speaks better than me, because he uses it and he communicates every day, and he is mastered in that language. So it is not, there is no boundaries for that. And it gives others countries statistics also. There are other countries like Germany, France, and Italy and Turkey. So these states also having so many non-native speakers, and the percentage seems to be 60, 50, 20, like that. So there are so many people are trying to learn English language, and that's we can say that it's language of the future. And Hitchings also gives you other details, like there are some organizations like what British Council, that is established for cultural international cultural relationships, for the betterment of the international cultural relationships. So, but it trains the people to speak in English. And here his argument is that there is a hidden agenda for these organizations, that they're teaching English language, not to uplift them, but in order to that their hidden agenda is to make them buy their products, because the so-called British Council or other organizations, they are in the hands of corporates. So if what's the business of corporates? They sell products. So whatever they manufactured in Europe, so that has to be sold in this the global south, or Middle East or Asian countries, or all these areas. So for them, English, we don't know English much. So their business is to teach us, and in order to buy those products. So that was the his argument in that. And other philosopher, what? Yeah. So in 1989, its Director General Sir Richard Francis stated that Britain's real black gold is not in the North Sea oil, but it is in the English language. So that much of importance is given to English language. English, the Britain is so strong because of its English. Okay, and Robert Phillipson says that English business, says English for business is business for English. So it is a continuation of what I told you. So the so-called BPO, the organizations, international organizations like British Council, so they try to teach, make others learn English, but their business is hidden. There is a hidden agenda that if teach these people, that the global south, are Indians or Africans or other colonized people, so they can get business out of it. That is the word for meaning of that sentence. So this, though there is a push and pull between these forces, that means somebody want to push this language, and there are some are pulled this language, are pulling this language. So there are so many consequences are complex, and so there are so much of amount is spending on English language, but there are people are trying to learn English in their local color, local flavor. So that's why he is saying that finally that there are so many English centers are emerging. The center cannot stand. The center can't hold. I can remember the poem by W.B. Yeats. Turning, that poem is there. I can't remember that. Center can't hold. So the center is changing. So it was earlier the British or America, but now it is so many centers like India, the Chinese, Singapore English, Caribbean English. So the centers have been changing. So this is the language, and as the centers are changing, so many languages are disappearing. Because, for example, most of the Telugu people speak in English. That means we are forgetting our mother tongue. So we are diminishing so many languages. So that is the whole argument in this text. So try to use your mother tongue and try to protect your mother tongue. And finally, he says that there are so many centers are English is not centered one particular country. So many countries have their own centers. So that will be the future of language. So what is the language of future means? The English centers. Okay, so many Englishes are coming into the existence, and we are losing our tongues also. Okay, so this is the lesson, and let me talk briefly what I have discussed so far. Okay, yeah. First of all, English language is spread as widely as no language has spread as widely as English. And it is the language of trade, commerce. It's a language of library. It's a language of diplomacy. It's a language of it's a lingua franca for so many countries and world. And so we have seen that how Arabic people, Arabs see English, and so they see English as a language of science and technology, and language of work, language of modernity. So all this associated with the English language, and we have seen that there are 500 millions of non-native speakers of English. So it is this number is higher than the native speakers of English language, both England and America combined. And he gives you another examples like how Koreans pay their children pay money to widen their tongue in order to produce some words like pronounce I and R sounds. So they think that this linguistic capital is equal to economic capital. So you find if you are very competent in English language, you will be placed somewhere. You will be you will get some job. You will have so many number of opportunities. Not only jobs, you will get contract from others. You are very you have big wings, and this is what. And next, what are the threat or challenges from other languages? Because we are calling it as a global language. So what is there any other language that is spoken as English? So there are two languages he is giving. One is Mandarin, that is Chinese, and Spanish. So these two languages are spoken. The native speakers of these two languages are more than the native speakers of English, but it is spoken only in their mother tongue, in their motherland. That means in China, Mandarin is spoken only in China, not in other countries, and Spanish is mostly spoken in America, though it is come from Spain. Spain has many regional languages. So this is so one thing, it doesn't have any threat from outside, since we are calling it as a global language. But the challenges come from within, because people are not accepting Englishness. So many creative artists, they don't want English. We have seen so many writers like Rabindranath Tagore in India. He got Nobel Prize in literature, but he wrote only in Bengali. He don't want write in English, because that gives you creative wings. Our mother tongue gives you creative power. So that is the thing. And though English has this kind of abstractions, this kind of obstacles, but it's with the English language we have so many opportunities. So, and he gives you other examples that China people, Chinese are trying to learn English and they have fever that if you don't speak English language, you will not in the mainstream. You are marginalized kind of thing. So that is what he is trying to say. And by seeing these two major populated countries, uh, we see that the center is changing. So many people are learning. So India has 136 crore people, around 130 crore people, and and China is more than that, India's population, and so English is not only spoken in Britain or America; it is spreading from country to country. So that is the importance. Next, he gives you English is diluted because we have seen two languages, because so many people are trying to use this one. He gives you the diluteness. If two non-native speakers, if two native speakers speak in English, they are very much comfortable. If they speak with the non-native speakers, they are not very comfortable in their language, and they don't understand each other what they are trying to say, because English language is very idiomatic. So they don't trying to understand. But two non-native speakers, they are very much comfortable in English language because it's a very fresh language to them, and they need not to learn very idiomatic expressions. And they try to use their mother tongue influence. They have a lot of mother tongue influence. If that influence is seen by native speakers, they don't understand. For example, I'll give you, if two Indians speak, especially we try to say school, but most of the Indians, they try to speak school as a school. So this kind of if non-native speakers, native speakers listen to the school, they find this is very strange word. They never come across this kind of words. So so one thing that two native speakers, okay, if they communicate with each other, they're okay. But non-native speakers, they don't understand, and the two non-native speakers, they are very comfortable with each other. This is, and it gives you other examples like, though the native speakers are very competent, they are missing some opportunities because they don't learn other languages because they feel that they are very competent in their tongue. But he gives you examples for that, and there are so many people like Sweden, Sweden and the Netherlands, Dutch. There are 80% of the people speak English language. So this is examples that he is giving, and English is pushed with some organizations like is in British Council. So it is international cultural relations body. So it has 100 centers in the world. So it is trying to teach people, trying to teach people English language. But there is a hidden agenda behind this, because they want to learn. They are teaching these people in order to do business, not make them uplift, and they want to give good opportunities for them. So if they produce some bulk amount of products in the Europe or in America, so they want to sell these products. If people at least learn some words on labels, so they can these multinational companies sell their products. So behind all this, British Council and other international organizations, there are British corporates or corporate interests are hidden. So this is the what he is trying to say. So there are something forces pushed English, some forces are pulling back English. So, but it has so many advantages learning, and so that's why it will be the global language and the language of the future too. And today and so we've seen that though this pulling and pushing taking place, these new languages, this as so many number of people are speaking this English language, and so many languages, so many countries are using English language. So what some languages that are very small number of people that language has are disappearing, because as new language English centers are changing. So this centers are changing, so English other languages are disappearing completely. So this is the text that we looked so far. So you have any questions, you can comment me below. So I hope you understood the text, and I'm very thankful to you all. Thank you for watching.